Hi, I'm Gabe Denzine, and today I will be doing my persuasive speech on how hunting is still an ethical sport. The sport of hunting is defined as the act of hunting or pursuing game with the intention on harvesting it or using it. This comes straight out of the Webster Dictionary. Even though people today disagree on the subject of whether or not hunting is still an applicable and ethical sport, I am here to tell you that hunting still is an ethical sport. Now, me myself, I have a great background on the subject of hunting. This is my latest harvest. This was in November of 2017. It was my gun buck, and it's pretty decent, so I'm proud of it. But that's just giving you a little knowledge that I like to hunt. Even my background, I have some of my other bucks on the wall. But I have good knowledge and experience in the subject. So I grew up in a family divided by hunters and non-hunters. My father's side of the family have a huge passion and love for the outdoors and hunting. However, my mother's side has not one single hunter in the family. I found a love for hunting by myself. And I found this by going out and experience the true beauty of the sport. In my audience analysis, 50% of you said that you don't hunt for any game. Also, another 50% of you said that you were unsure if hunting was ethical or not. Well, today, I will be explaining to you 3 separate reasons to help you understand why hunting is still an ethical sport. I will be explaining how our ancestors survived with hunting and methods that they used. I will be explaining today's rules and regulations, keeping it fair for people and the animals. And then I will be explaining how to understand how hunting is a hobby and a lifestyle. So, let's start off by giving you the background of it all. Ancestors, ancient civilizations, and Native Americans. All of these things have quite a bit in common. They are all in the past. They all have relations to us today, but they also carry another shared aspect. Hunting. Chris Hurst wrote on an online article, Ancient Hunting. In this article, he starts off by telling people that hunting has been around for tens of thousands of years. Hunting is one of the earliest methods for gathering food, aside from picking fruits and berries from trees. Some of the earliest methods involve weapons such as a jabbing spear or a throwing spear. Through trial and error, it was found by people that using projectiles such as a bow and arrow were the best methods for taking and harvesting game due to distance restrictions. Weapons were crafted out of wood, animal bone, and rock. An ancient tactic to take down the animals known as mammoths, which were giant elephant-like creatures, were for a group of men to lure them in a confined area, and they would all spear the animal. These animals would be used to not only feed the entire village, but to clothe the women and children, house the villagers, and use the bone for tools and weapons. Almost no portion of any animal was left without being used. Now that you have an idea on ancient hunting, let's talk about today's rules and regulations, keeping hunting an ethical sport. Hunting management and the idea of conservation really started with one man, and that was Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt was the father of conservation. He loved the idea of hunting and being in the outdoors. He loved it so much that he wanted people to enjoy the same things that he did, so he started the idea of conservation. Theodore put ideas into conservation, trying to preserve the ways of hunting and nature. To make sure the sport of hunting was preserved and remained ethical, the U.S. Department of Interior says that Roosevelt created 150 national forests, 4 game preserves, 5 national parks, and 230 million acres of public land, thus creating a balance of places for people to hunt and places where animal and game could not be hunted but only observed. Also, game is not harvested in the way that it was in the past. Ancient hunting needed hunting in order to survive. Without it, the people would have never made it. Hunting is not the only food source that we have today. In the last 100 years, it didn't really play as big of a role that it once did. We now have other ways of gathering food, such as we have farming, grocery stores, and other means of meat and obtaining fabrics. However, hunting does help by creating a cheap way to get lots of food on your table. It is very relevant in the sense that you can use the harvested animals for multiple purposes, like the way it was used to. Today, we have bag limits and regulations which keep hunting ethical. There are size limits, bag restrictions, and seasons for hunting. These are meant so you cannot devastate an animal population and that you can only hunt and harvest an ethical animal. You can see how the meaning for hunting has changed over time, but now you understand how humans have made an effort to preserve the sport. Now, let me help you understand why humans care so much about it. People have hobbies. Some like to bike, some like to play golf, and others like to lift weights. Everyone has their own passion that they love to do. For me, as well as many others, this passion is hunting. Hunting gives a sense of well-being. It helps people challenge themselves and gives them something to keep their morale up, and it gives them something to look forward to. This is an essential way in living a well-balanced lifestyle. Enjoying the outdoors helps people relieve stress. Being in nature is peaceful and relaxing. Hunting is not all about killing. That is a big misconception. It is much more than that. Hunting is about the experience. Being in the wilderness, studying the way the animals live, their habitats, and how they act in nature. Hunting is a science in the way that there is always something more you could study or notice or learn about the way an animal acts and lives its life. Hunting is not only shared alone, but is shared between others in a form of a bond. Father and son, mother and daughter, friend and friend. It brings people together to create lasting memories. Now I have told you why I believe hunting is to be ethical. In conclusion, hunting has been around for a while, and I hope it continues to stay around for a very long time. My hope is that people will change their opinions on the sport and understand it is much more than just killing an animal. It is an experience, a science, a bond, and a lifestyle. Even though people may disagree on the topic, hunting is a very ethical sport. Thank you.